My name is Hannah. I want to tell you something very personal. This is the story of how a quiet invitation changed my life. A simple cup of tea helped me escape a silent prison. It's a story of fear, survival, and how sometimes even small kindness can light up a dark world. As a little girl, I was always silent. I watched people talk and laugh, but I never felt brave enough to join in. I often sat alone, reading books while others played. One of my favorite books was about Queen Victoria. I admired her strength. I used to think, if a young girl like her could grow up and rule a whole empire, maybe I can be strong too. My parents were kind but very traditional. My father believed girls should be quiet and good. My mother always said, a good wife is like gold, shiny, silent, and still. So I followed the rules. I smiled when I was sad. I kept my voice soft. I believed being silent was the right way to live. When I turned 19, I met James at a local history museum. He stood beside a portrait of Winston Churchill and said, "Some men are born to lead." I was drawn to him immediately. He was confident, clever, and said things that made me feel small in a good way. He called me his gentle queen. I believed I had found someone special. James and I talked every day. He made me laugh. He listened to my dreams, at least in the beginning. He said he admired strong women in history, Joan of Arc, Marie Curie, Indira Gandhi. But slowly, he began telling me, "You're not like them. You're softer. You don't need to change the world. Just stay with me." I thought that was love. When he asked me to marry him, I said yes. I dropped out of college and said goodbye to my dream of becoming a history teacher. I believed I was stepping into a fairy tale. But I was wrong. So wrong. After marriage, James changed. First, it was my clothes. "You don't need to wear that. It's too bold," he said. Then, my books. "Why do you care so much about old people? History doesn't feed a baby," he joked. I stopped reading. I packed my old diaries into a box and hid them in the attic. Soon I was pregnant. We had a baby girl and named her Grace, after Grace O'Malley, the Irish pirate queen. I wanted my daughter to grow up fearless, but James didn't like the name. "It sounds too wild," he said. He didn't come to the hospital. I gave birth alone. At home, he started yelling more. "You're lazy," he would say when the food was cold. "You're not smart enough," he whispered when I tried to explain something. Sometimes he threw things. One day he kicked over my books and said, "You're not in school anymore." "Wake up!" I cried that night, holding Grace, whispering, "Please don't grow up like me." I tried to tell my mother. She said, "This is marriage. Women in our family have survived worse." I felt my heart sink. I thought of the women I used to read about: Amelia Earhart, flying through storms; Harriet Tubman, leading others to freedom. And here I was, afraid to even step outside. Then came a turning point. One night, James came home drunk. He slapped me. I stared at him in shock. It was like something inside me cracked. But still, I stayed. Where would I go? I had no job, no money, and a baby to raise. A few months later, my world broke again. My father died. He had a stroke, and I couldn't even attend the funeral. James didn't allow me. "What's the point?" he said. "It won't bring him back." That night, I sat in the bathroom and cried until I was sick. I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Then came the day everything changed. It was a rainy Monday morning. I heard a knock on the door. I opened it slowly and saw a woman holding a tray. "Hi," she said. "I'm Claire. I just moved next door. Would you like to come over for a cup of tea?" I almost said no. My heart was racing, but something inside me said yes. Her home was warm and smelled like cinnamon. She poured tea gently, looked into my eyes, and asked, "Are you okay?" I broke down crying. She didn't ask more. She just said, "You are not alone, Hannah." That tea was more than a drink, it was a door. Claire was different. She loved history too. She had books about Empress Wu Zetian and Eleanor Roosevelt. She reminded me of the woman I used to be. Slowly, she helped me remember that I still existed. She suggested, "I try working from home. You're good with crafts," she said. "Try making bookmarks with quotes from famous women in history." I was scared, but I did it. I printed one with the quote, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Eleanor Roosevelt. People loved them. Orders started coming in. I began making bookmarks, keychains, small notebooks. Every time someone bought one, I felt a piece of me return. I began earning a little money. I bought Grace a second-hand dress and a small globe. One day, I told her, "You will travel the world." James didn't like it. He shouted, "Why are you wasting time on this?" I looked at him and said, "Because I'm not wasting me." He was shocked. He didn't speak for a while. I wasn't fearless, but I was braver. I joined a women's history club online. I met women who had survived war, hunger, prison. Their stories gave me strength. I cut my hair short, the way I liked it. I painted my walls yellow. Grace said, "Mom, you look like sunshine." Now, 2 years have passed. I still live in the same house, but it feels different. James tries to control me, but I have boundaries now. I no longer ask for permission to be myself. I no longer whisper when I want to shout. I no longer apologize for existing. Claire is still my best friend. We laugh about the day she knocked on my door. "Who knew," she says, "that a cup of tea could start a revolution?" And she's right. That day, that tea was my Boston Tea Party. My rebellion, my freedom. If you are hearing my story, please remember this. Even one quiet act of kindness can be the start of your freedom. Even if you feel broken, you are not defeated. Even if your voice is small, it still matters. You are not alone. You are history in the making, and one cup of tea can save your life.